Hi everyone, it's been quite a while since I've done any kind of a vlog, and I really don't feel like doing one today, to be honest. This has been a really rough week. On Wednesday, you know, all of the news started to break about the shooting in Atlanta, and you know how like just we feel really exposed and really scared when there is a school shooting, because we look around and we think that could happen here, and you start running through, you know, gosh, what would I do if that happened right now? How would I protect my students? How would I protect myself? What choices would I make? And for me, that's how I'm feeling now. And anyone who is Asian American, particularly Asian American women, are looking around thinking, could this happen to me right now? What would I do? Where would I go? Who can I call for help? And most of the students that I teach are Asian American, and it just makes me so angry and so sad that they're probably scared right now, that their parents are scared, that their brothers and sisters are scared, that they might have family in other cities that, you know, they're checking in on, and they might not be able to concentrate on class as much as usual. And I have coworkers who might not be able to concentrate right now either, and it's hard to know what to do to make people safer. So anyway, I'm not like in a mood to start this video off all happy. This is why I like holidays, because holidays continue to happen every year, even during difficult years, even during hard times. And Holi festival is coming up, and this is something that I started celebrating with my students 2 years ago because we study ancient India, and Holi festival comes out of Hinduism and like Indian culture. And at this point, it's not really like much of a religious celebration. There's kind of some symbolism in like how the colors get on everybody, and then everyone is, you know, they look the same, so everyone is like kind of like on an equal playing field on that day. But it's more of just like a social, cultural celebration. So this is something that we do, and it's really, really, really fun to do in person. This was basically the last thing we did last year before we went into, you know, a virtual setting. So I'm celebrating this with my students virtually like we did Lunar New Year. So right now I'm just putting together these gift bags for my students. So I'm giving them some color powder, and this is kind of silly to do by yourself. Like, they can throw this up in the air, you know, you can cut the top off and throw it up in the air, and you and your brothers and sisters or whatever at home can play in this. But it's way more fun when everybody has a different color, right? And it looks like this. This is what makes it cool. There's so much symbolism in that as well. But everybody's gonna get some colors. These are like the reject colors. Like, why would you do brown? This just literally looks like dirt. The white looks like flour, and the gray looks like cement. So I'm trying not to give anyone those. I hope I have enough pretty colors to give everybody. I'm also putting a mandala coloring page in everybody's bag. And we're gonna look at some websites that have like mandala museum exhibits, and we'll watch a video of some priests like doing like a sand mandala. So this will be pretty cool. And then we always like to include a little language lesson. There are hundreds of languages spoken in India, so Hindi is not the only one. This just happened to be the easiest one to find like resources on. So we're just gonna practice trying to write these really beautiful characters. And then I have a few students who have volunteered to help us a little bit, but most of them were actually saying they don't really speak Hindi very well. There are actually other languages that they understand much better. So yeah, there's just not really like a go-to language that you can use when you're studying India. Maybe English, but the characters are just really pretty. So we're, you know, just gonna play with that a little bit and expose ourselves to some languages and forms of communication. And then a couple other things I'm excited about. I just made these stickers for my students. I have a $10 off coupon that I'll leave down below, and I just, you know, designed these and put everybody's name on them, and then they can put this on anything they want. But I just thought that was a fun way to kind of commemorate this year. And then I also went to an Indian grocery store and looked for some candy. I wasn't really sure what I was looking for, but I love guava, so I thought these looked good. And then the guy that was ringing me up said they were really, really yummy. So I'm gonna put a couple of these in everybody's bag. So this is just what they end up looking like in the end. And then students can come pick these up and we'll do a little virtual party next week. Here's a book that's also really good for teaching about Holi Festival, Festival of Colors, and Vashti Harrison did the illustrations. I love her art. So these are all the things that are inside the bags besides the book. So, you know, you've got their coloring page and their candy and their powder and their sticker and our language lesson worksheet. These are all done now. So I'm gonna take them to the office and then kids will pick them up next week and we'll have our party next Monday. Who says virtual learning isn't creative and fun and effective? As long as teachers put a ton of their own money and extra time into it, it's awesome. Okay, I apologize that this is like the most unorganized vlog ever, but it's probably gonna be one of my shortest, which I'm kind of proud of. I always wanna whittle my videos down and I never can. Did you notice that my hair is like kind of pink, by the way? I tried to get it pink with that Kristen S like rose gold tint stuff. Didn't really take on my darker hair, but whatever. That's just where my mind is at right now. Okay, so what else do I need to explain? Holi Festival wise, I have a couple other videos that actually just show it a lot better. I will just link those videos. Like last year's was really good because usually we have this whole thing where like the kids explain everything about Holi Festival. We have girls go up and do some traditional dances. We have parents come and set up all the powder, and then we go outside and we have like a drone camera and we take video while the kids throw all the powder in the air, and then they just kind of like run around and dance. And it's awesome. It's the best. I love it. For our virtual party, I'm just going to tell, oh, I need to email parents right now. That's what I was about to do. But I'm just gonna email parents, let them know to pick up their child's bag, and that if they will allow them to make a mess outside, I'm gonna ask them to just make a video of themselves throwing their powder in the air and getting all messy and put it on Flipgrid. I love Flipgrid. And then I will just like splice all of those videos together and just make like a little Holi Festival video for us since we can't physically do it together. Nearpod actually has a really good lesson about Holi Festival, so we will be using that as well. If you have younger kids, that book works super well just to kind of like explain the concept. There are like videos online just of people in India celebrating. I mean, it's like 1,000 people in like a square with buildings around them, and they'll just like throw powder up in the air. It's usually on like a plate, and they'll just be like, whew, and the powder goes everywhere, and there's usually like water too, so people are just like getting super messy, and it's just like a fun thing. So anytime we celebrate something like this, it always needs to fit into one of two categories, possibly both. So it either needs to be affirming to the students who I have and just very affirming of their culture and not mocking it in any way. I always want them to lead it as much as possible. This isn't something that, you know, I have celebrated my whole life or that is part of my culture. So as much as possible, I just like to, you know, do the administrative side. I buy everything. You wouldn't believe how much money I've spent this year on school, but you know, whatever. I'm trying to make this work for them. And then, you know, they lead as much of it as possible. The best thing is when parents come in and they get involved. So, you know, usually this is way more student-led than it is this year, just because it's harder to orchestrate all of this. And like last year, we even had like 7th and 8th graders come to the assembly and help us out and everything. So yeah, stuff like this either needs to be affirming or provide exposure to something that students don't know very much about. So if you don't have a lot of Indian students or Southeast Asian students at your school, You need to find a way to, you know, get your hands on really good quality resources. And this stuff is good quality. The Nearpod lesson is very good. The Festival of Colors book is very good. You can get the powder. You could play Indian music. It's weird because, like, at any point this could turn into something that's like not very respectful, but I think it's just all the teacher. Like, the teacher's gonna set the tone to make it fun, but also base this in your learning. And it just, you just have to remember that real people, real life living people celebrate this holiday. They have for thousands of years. They continue to today. And that's the biggest thing, I think, is just like, never let that out of your sight, that this is something that real people do. It's not a game or, you know, just like something on TV. This is something real people do. So we want to affirm and respect this holiday. So with anything that we celebrate, we have to remember that. So just like with Lunar New Year, I don't recommend that every single teacher do this, but like at my school, you know, 6th graders are studying ancient India. I believe 7th graders also have like the Gupta Empire and a few chapters on Indian empires. So that would work well in 7th grade as well. But like if you taught 8th grade US history, I wouldn't recommend spending any time on this because it really doesn't go with your curriculum. So it just will feel out of place and it will feel false. So that's something to just keep in mind, that I, you know, always try to keep in the front of my mind as well. We're studying Mohenjo-Daro right now. I'm really obsessed with Mohenjo-Daro. I just think it's so interesting. This and then the terracotta warriors. I just like, I can't get over how cool it is to find these artifacts and remnants and stuff from so many thousands of years ago. It's really cool. Okay, I still haven't sent this email to parents. I need to do that right now. I'm also watching this movie called Swing Kids, but it's not the Swing Kids that's set during World War II with Christian Bale that I'm currently showing to my 8th graders. This is a different Swing Kids, and it's a Korean movie. There's Americans and Koreans in it, and it's set during the Korean War in a POW camp. And it is one of the funniest movies I've seen in a long time. I needed a laugh today, and this just kind of like, I had not heard of this movie, but this is kind of like the perfect kind of balm to watch right now. I'm learning more about the Korean War, but also it's really funny. So this is just kind of like exactly what I need right now. Oh, and very lastly, I just am very obsessed, and I'm just very excited that we have something to remember each other by. Like, for those of you who are teaching through a pandemic, like, don't you feel like a particular closeness with this group of students? Even if they are a bunch of black squares, or like half of them, we've gone through trauma together. We've gone through this like harrowing experience together. And so this is different. Like, these kids, I don't know, they just mean something different to us this year. So like, if you can make your class a little sticker with all of their names on it, I don't know, I just think it's fun. Like, these kids have really never even met each other, for my 6th graders, because they came from different elementary schools, and then they would come here together to be together, but that hasn't happened yet. We actually are going back in person. Did I mention that? I'm so outrageously stressed about it, and I can't even wrap my mind around it, and I just haven't been talking about it, and I'm not gonna talk about it or think about it until it happens. I'm just like, I'm very passive in this situation. I don't think it's a good idea, so I'm not helping to bring it to fruition. So in future videos, stay tuned for how this goes. I'm not a fan. We've spent a year getting really, really, really good at teaching online, and honestly, my online instruction is fabulous, and all of the teachers that I know at my school have fabulous online instruction, and just sitting in a different spot while we essentially do the exact same thing less comfortably is going to have very few benefits. So that's all I have to say about that. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I hope you're all doing well, and I can't wait till summer. Bye guys.